So welcome to tonight's Freedom Team call. I commend each and every one of you for being on this call tonight because I know it is a sacrifice to make time for these. But way to go for jumping on here because that shows your dedication and your success and willing to want to grow in this business and learn. So tonight we're going to talk about some different things. We're going to talk a little bit about fear, how to face them, talking to people and overcoming talking to people, things that you can do to do that. And we're going to talk a little bit about belief in yourself. I have a special guest that's going to share a little bit of her story before I go into some tips that I want to give you and a little bit of the things that I have done along my journey. So we have Gold Ambassador Nikki House is going to share a little bit of her story because I believe her story pertains really well to the subject tonight because she's had to overcome some fears and struggles herself. So Nikki, are you unmuted and ready to talk?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Nikki House. I've been with Plexus Worldwide a year on August 9th. I did not sign up for the business. That's not why I got into it. I got into it for my daughter. I signed up to get the products at wholesale, the cheapest that I could get them. And the products have not only the products, but the business as well have been just a true blessing for my family and I. So a little bit about me. I'm not going to go into everything, but when I signed up and I shared my daughter's testimony with her eczema, the business just happened. I mean, it seriously, I couldn't sign up quick enough. I had people, asking, well, where can I get this? I mean, what did you use, for your daughter? So it's not only helped her tremendously, but it's helped myself, my husband, and my son. We all have our own testimonies with the products. But, if we didn't have the business, you got to have the products to back up the business too, but both definitely been a true blessing with our family. Want to talk about fears. I have faced a lot of fears, and I'm still facing fears till this day. I actually faced a big one last week, and I faced another one yesterday. I just got back from vacation with my family in California, and I had a chance to talk to my brother. He has some issues with his heart and stuff, and just he's gained some weight, and I got to talk to him about Plexus, and that was kind of a big fear of mine, and talking to my nephew about Plexus as well, because he drinks a lot of energy drinks. It's, that's all he drinks. And so I got to put that in a little bit there. And I think the big thing for me is really talking to my family, especially, those that I don't see all the time, or, it's, you always think, well, what are they going to think of me? And I had to pull myself out of the equation last week, and I had talked to a nurse yesterday about Plexus as well. So those type of things, you can't think, well, what are they going to think about me? You just can't. You have to pull yourself out of it and think about the person that you're talking to, because these products really work, So another, as far as fears on here, voice messages. That was a huge one for me. To send a quick voice message to a friend or a family member, once I started facing that and did it, it got easier, and it's definitely got easier for me. And going back to thinking about, what people think of you, that's always been a big one for me. But once I started talking to my brother and my sister-in-law and my nephew about Plexus, all that went away. I wasn't even thinking. I was like, I don't care what they think about me. If they think I'm crazy or, but, they didn't. They wanted to hear more. And I didn't share a whole lot of information with them, with Plexus. It was just little, bits and pieces here and there, and I didn't always bring it up. And that was the great thing. I just shared a little bit of information, and they, the next day they asked me, I didn't bring it up with them again, and I have made some notes here. Dusty had made a video earlier today talking about when someone ignores you and what do you do. I have found that, it's in the follow-up, and like she said, it may not be the perfect time for them. It's just the timing's not good, and I've had that several times. People just get busy, or, maybe their finances are just not that great, or, they're really wanting to try it and they really just keep forgetting to, get back with you. And I have only had, I don't even know if I've had a handful of people tell me no, but I've had a lot of people ignore me, but they will eventually get back with me, and they have, so, and it may take a month or so, but, it's always good not to give up on that. Another fear of mine has been getting in front of people and talking to a big crowd. I've gotten better with that. I'm still facing that, but I'm getting better with it. So really, it's just once you face those fears and you get those first few words out, even if it's 8 to 10 words, you get them out. It's downhill from there. You're golden. It's good. So, don't ever think that, people are going to think differently of you. If they do, oh well, they're eventually going to come around, because I've had people, that will come around. And don't prejudge, if you think someone, oh, well, they're not going to be interested, or they, may think this or think that, don't prejudge. I've found that out the hard way. And, as far as like people on my chicken list, that's been a big one for me, a big fear for me. It was funny because when I finally got to talk to one of my friends, she's my chiropractor. She chuckled at me because I was just laid it out to her. I just told her that I've been, scared to talk to her, and she laughed at me and she was like, "Nikki, no, why were you scared to talk to me?" Because she was on my chicken list, and I told her that I felt that way. But, she told me, she said, "You can always come to me and talk to me." She said, I'm glad you did. And I found out she was already taking Plexus, but she is going to give me referrals. So that was a big fear of mine. And it took me months, and Dusty knows that. It took me months to actually talk to her, to open my mouth. And I found the right time to do it, and once I did, I felt better. I felt great. So, it's just facing those fears. And once you do, it gets easier every time, and not everybody has the same fears, and not everybody, everybody may have, one fear or two fears. Somebody may have several, and, it's just facing those fears. And once you do, you're going to feel a lot better. So.
So, Nikki, great job, great advice. I need people to understand, Nikki has earned her way to gold. She messages people every day. Nikki, how many fears a day do you face when you message people?
A lot. I'm to the point now where I am doing a lot of follow-ups. I'm still adding people to my list. I'm always adding people. I'm always trying to find new people to add to my list. I have ran into the fears of, oh my gosh, I have followed up with this person, almost every month or every 3 months. And I'm like, they're probably getting sick of me, but they're not telling me no, and it just goes back to, it's not the right time for them, and the timing is perfect. The timing is everything, because I've got several people that, oh, well, maybe a bill came up. I understand. I completely understand that. It's just timing for people, or they want to do it. They're just right there on the edge, but, I try to contact anywhere from 5 to 8 people every day. I try to,
That's
so.
huge. That's huge. I want you guys to know, because a lot of you on this call tonight don't realize Nikki is incredibly shy. And honestly, I was scared to talk to Nikki. And obviously, you can see how that's turned out. I was fearful. I felt God telling me to talk to her about her and her little girl. And you can see that she responded to me well. She didn't think I was crazy like I thought she was going to see. So I faced a fear by talking to her. And since then, she has faced many fears of her own. And she's a gold ambassador. Well, and her team is helping her get to senior gold as well as herself. And this girl carries over 1,000 PV every month because she reaches out and she faces fears every single day. So thank you, Nikki, for jumping on there, sharing your heart tonight, sharing some of the fears that you faced and what you've done to overcome them. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So guys, I want you to understand everybody has fears that we face every single day. Some people, it's really easy for them to talk to people. For some people, it's really easy for them to get up and speak in front of crowds. But for the most part, everybody has some fear. They may all be different. So today, I took the opportunity and asked in my group, and I had some of the other leaders ask in their groups about fears, what their teams fear. And some of the things that we got back today were a fear of talking to strangers in public. That's a real fear. I understand that. You don't want people to think you're crazy. Well, here's the deal. Nikki might as well have been a stranger to me. I had only met her like one time before, I think at a baseball practice, and I'm not even sure I'd ever really done anything more than said hello to her. And really, whenever you walk up to somebody that you may not know strongly or you may have never met before, there's a few approaches you can take with these people. And you just have to take a deep breath and do it, okay? So some of the things that I can tell you to say that these people, like with Nikki, I walked up to her and I said, Nikki, you know, I think I have something that I want to share with you. I've noticed that your daughter had some skin issues, and I wanted to share with you that I had some skin issues, and I wanted to share with you what I had used. Would you be willing to try what I have? And she was really open-minded. Now, something else that you can walk up to and talk to somebody like it's a complete stranger. You can walk up to somebody and say, listen, my name is Dusty, and I'm new to the area, and I was wondering if you would take my business card and keep me in mind if you know of anybody that suffers from digestive issues, maybe blood sugar issues, maybe they need to lose a little extra weight, or maybe they'd like some extra income. Those are just simple ways for you to talk to somebody. If you will just walk up to somebody, all you have to do is be brave for 20 seconds or less. The first few words that you get out of your mouth, the rest of it, just like Nikki said, will be downhill from there. The worst thing that these people can tell you is no. And guess what? You're still going to be alive. It won't kill you. You will not die. I promise. I'm living proof. So is Nikki and probably every one of you that are on this call tonight if you've tried that approach. So guys, the struggle is real. The fear is real. We understand it. I'm going to give you some more tips to get through fears, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the fears, people had in detail here. How to approach them. Well, I think the how to approach people and how to talk to stranger, you can apply what I just said to that one as well. That if it's somebody that you know, the best way I know to approach people, if you know them really well, is to reach out and just say, hey, would you give me 5, 10, 15 minutes to just jump on the phone? I want to share with you something that I'm really excited and passionate about. It's that simple. You want to approach somebody that you don't really know. Say you're sitting on a park bench and they're just sharing their life with you. Listen to them. Be very caring and mindful to what they tell you. And when they say something you think Plexus might be able to help with, you're just going to say, hey, what if I had something that could help with that? You just have to push past that fear, and there's just little words that you can say to get you started in the conversation. Running out of people to talk to. That's a real fear, but guess what? Get out there and join some new clubs and stuff like that. You'll never run out of people if you get yourself into social aspects. If you sit in the house and don't ever get out, you might have that problem, but even then you still have social media. Join some groups that way. You'll never run out of people, trust me. Because if you know one person, guess what? That one person knows people. Don't ever use the excuse or the fear of I have a small network. Guys, I have a small network. I'm a Sapphire ambassador with the company. I was never somebody that had a huge network of friends too shy, too quiet, and I'd rather be in the back of the room with nobody looking at me. So there's no excuse for running out of people or having a small network. The fear of, let's see here, not having all the answers. Okay, so that's a real fear, but guess what? I didn't have all the answers, and probably every diamond I've ever met doesn't have all the answers either. But what we do is we become bold and say, you know what? We're just honest with people and say, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but I can get you an answer to that. Just be honest with people whenever you think you have a fear of not knowing everything. I don't know everything, guys. I'm not here to lie to you and tell you that I do know everything. But I can always find an answer for somebody. That's when you reach to your upline. So another feel people have is sounding salesy. Guys, you don't have to sound salesy. If you're talking to people, this is why I always say, even if it's just if you want to private message somebody, do it in a voice message, because they can hear your caring heart in your voice. You will never sound salesy if people listen to you and will hear your passion in your voice. So take that fear of sounding salesy and kick it to the curb. Because if you have a caring, giving, loving heart, people will never think that you're just out to sell for them, just for them to be another number on your list. Because that's not what we want. So people have that face-to-face fear. And I get that. That's a real fear. But like I said before, just have to be brave for 20 seconds or less and get those first few words out. Once you get them out, it's all downhill from there, because people are going to be genuinely open to what you have to share with them, because they'll hear it in your voice. All right. So, let's talk about what are some of the things that you could help. What can help push you past these fears? Because they're all real fears, and I don't want you to think that I am discounting any one of them, because guys, I'm afraid every day when I do something. But I'm going to give you 4 or 5 tips right here, things that I use personally. Okay, I would never give you anything that I've never used, but these are things that I use personally that help me propel past my fears. And the first one is the number one thing that has helped me the most. You have to find something you're more afraid of to push you past the fear you're looking at. The fear that I had that was so real was the fear of what were other people going to think of me. That was my biggest fear. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Best advice I'm ever going to give you. So get a pen and write it down. Are you ready? People are going to judge you no matter what you do. I don't care if it's network marketing. I don't care if it's going to the grocery store in your pajamas. I don't care if it's driving a Ford instead of a Chevy. People are going to judge you no matter what you do. All right? So don't worry about that anymore. There's no more excuse, because they're going to judge you no matter what you do. But back to my main point. You have to find something that you're more afraid of to push you past the biggest fear. Something like me, it was the fear of not having income for my family. Whenever I thought that I was going to be fired from my job for doing something that I felt I wouldn't do something illegal. So that fear was greater in me than the fear of what people were going to think, or what I was going to do to help talk to people, or how I was going to do all these other things to make this business work. I had this greater fear, a fear of not having income, a fear of going home and telling my husband and kids that mommy didn't have a job anymore and we were not going to be able to do some of the things that we wanted to do, or that we, like pay bills and eat. Seriously, guys, those fears are real. So you have to find something that scares you even more. So are you afraid of disappointing your kids more than you are to talking to somebody face to face? Are you afraid of disappointing your spouse more than you are afraid of talking to somebody face to face? Are you more afraid of not having the life that you absolutely do deserve more than you are talking to somebody face to face? So that's the number one thing I'm going to tell you. You have to find something you're more afraid of. It's real and it works. The day that I pulled my car over and prayed to God and made my first post on Facebook, my fear was greater than what people were going to think of me. So, number 2, you must know why you're doing this. We go back to your why all the time. Your why has got to be greater than your fears. My why are 2 little boys, ages 14 and 11 now. The want to keep their father and myself home with those 2 little boys and not miss rodeos, not miss baseball games, not miss school functions, not miss lunches and dinners and breakfasts with them. My why is strong. And you have to know that why. You have to revisit that why every single day, because that why will help push you past your fears. If you're still looking at things and saying, I am afraid to do that, your why is not strong enough. You must sit back, reevaluate it, and dream bigger. Is your why to have a nicer home? Is your why to not have to worry about how to grocery shop? Is your why to have a vacation? Whatever it is, your why has to be very, very strong. And if you're not pushing past your fears, your why isn't big enough, and you've got to dream bigger. So you have to have that why bigger than your fears. The third thing that I can tell you to do, what do you do that empowers you? Everybody has something. You ever see those little graphics? I seen there was a cartoon the other day that came across Facebook the other day, and it was a little boy. He was very small, but he had just got done working out. And it said, I spent 30 minutes at the gym and I busted my butt, and now I feel like I can take on the world. Well, that is a real thing. So what is it? When you go to the gym, do you feel empowered? Do you feel strength? Do you feel passion whenever you leave the gym? That's when you should reach out to people. That's when you should do something that you're afraid to do. Is it listening to a motivational video or tape or CD or whatever? I don't even know if they make tapes anymore, but I'm showing my age here. So a motivational CD or video, how good do you feel after you listen to that or read that somewhere? That's when you say, okay, I feel invincible. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to face this fear now. Let's see here. I'm looking at my notes. So again, the other thing that I can tell you when changing the state of your mind, it's affirmations. Affirmations are huge. I've been speaking affirmations for quite some time now, probably a couple years. I know I didn't do it in the beginning. I wish I would have. Oh my God. But in the beginning, my fears were faced by my fear of, with my kids, I could push myself past with other things. But I've learned that I feel very empowered when I say affirmations. Now, everybody on this call, I probably knows what affirmations are. But if you don't, affirmations are things like, I can talk to somebody. I will have the right words whenever I pick up the phone and call Jane today. I will make my next goal. I will reach my goals this month. I will have people that want what I have. Okay, those kind of affirmations can empower you and help push you past fears. Don't think I'm crazy. I'm not. There's people on my team that thought I was absolutely nuts whenever I told them to do this. But they're doing it now, and they're doing amazing, and they're passing it down to their team members, and they're becoming more empowered. And the last thing that I can tell you to do is take yourself out of the equation. I know Nikki shared this with you, but I think this is really important. If your why isn't powerful enough, and if you can't change the state of your mind and being and to empower yourself, 9 times out of 10, people will do something for somebody else before they'll do it for themselves. So, did those first three or four things that I mentioned to you not speak to you? Maybe this one will. Are you somebody that puts others before yourself? I think a big part of the team is this way, or they wouldn't be Plexus ambassadors, because I feel like we're very giving people. When you put somebody else's needs in front of yourself, it's easier to do something, right? So if you're looking at your friend John and say John has troubles with, not sleeping well, and you think Plexus might help him, why not put his sleeping issues before your fear issues? Could that not help you to put him before you? Because it's really not about you if you're thinking about John's sleeping issues, right? And You know, think about it this way. There's a lot of things I won't do for myself. We as mothers, we put our kids' needs in front of us. We put our husband's needs in front of us. We put pretty much everything in front of us, right? So it's no different. Now, I'm not telling you to put things in front of yourself, but I'm just saying it's no different than looking at it that way. Put John's sleep needs in front of your fear issue, because that is more important than you being afraid. I look at fear, and forgive me if you're not a more holy person, but more godly person. I am. So I always look at fear as like the devil trying to stop me from something I'm supposed to do. I always say, if I read something and I think, oh, I should do that, and then I go, oh, that's scary, I don't know if I can do that. And I think, you know what? That's something that I have to do. Because if I feel that fear, I know it's going to benefit myself or somebody else greatly. So you have to just say, you know what, devil, you're not going to beat me today. I'm going to face this fear head on, and take one of those tips that I gave you tonight and know that you can put them in place and you can make this work. Listen, 97% of the population will not face their fears, and they will work for the other 3% who do. Do you want to be the 97% or do you want to be the 3%? It's your choice, really. Now, I'm not here to give you some kind of a lecture, but I'm just letting you know that's what the odds are. So tell yourself right now, you're going to be a part of that 3%. And I think if you're on this call tonight, or if you're listening to this recording, that you want to be a part of that 3%. And you just have to find one of those ways that maybe I gave you today to help push you past those fears. I promise you, every time you do it, it gets a little bit easier. I have made bets with several team members. They like to see me scared. They have no idea that pretty much everything I do scares me because of the way I was raised and unsocialized and everything else. But, I have a fear of heights and different things. So I make bets with people and say, okay, if you'll face your fears, I'll face mine. But they really don't know that I'm facing my fears every day by talking to people and this, that, and the other. But they like to see me actually physically afraid. And so I get on like Ferris wheels, which I'm deadly afraid of heights. I make bets with people and say, okay, if you'll do yours, I'll do mine. They got to really push themselves to make me get on those Ferris wheels, but I do it, okay? And so I face fears every day in so many things that I do. Guys, it's scary to get on these calls and lead them because I have fears of what if I lead you guys the wrong way? But I think, you know what? I tell myself, no. If it's coming from the heart, you can never lead somebody the wrong way with the advice that you give them. So tonight, I hope you took some of these tips and I hope you put them to good use. I hope you share them with your team because I think several of those could be very, very helpful to people to help push them forward. So just find what empowers you and push you forward. And I hope this was helpful tonight. I could talk for 2 or 3 or 4 hours on this, but we are at our half-hour mark, and I want to get you all back to your families. So I want to just quickly end with a quick prayer, very quickly. So Heavenly Father, I just want to pray for everybody that's on this call and everybody that watches this call. I pray that you bless them and you help them face their fears directly, head on. Don't let anything hold them back. Let them use the tools and tips and push forward and prevail to the successes and desires of the heart you want them to have. Because I know you want them and us to all have the desires of our heart. You know you've given us a giving heart, a giving spirit to help people, Lord. And we just thank you every day for this opportunity. We thank you for this team, and we thank you for you and your son who died on the cross. We love you, and amen. Thank you guys so much for jumping on this call tonight. I love you all, and I'll be talking to y'all soon. Y'all be blessed.